What should you disclose in your proxy about how shareholders can attend your annual shareholders meeting in person? Today on Zippy Point.
Quick Zips by Zippy Point.
Quick and dirty. I'm Brock Romnack and I'm a big fan of yous. It may sound crazy, but the SEC does not have any rules or regulations that mandate any disclosures about how shareholders can attend the annual shareholders meeting in person. Companies take it upon themselves to include that disclosure, making the process orderly, and after all, it's only logical since shareholders need that information to know how to attend. But practices vary widely here. So some companies welcome the attendance of shareholders in person. They even encourage it. Berkshire Hathaway drew 40,000 in person in 2019. Some call it the Woodstock of capitalists. It's an entire weekend of events. My dad went a few years ago and brought me back this nifty hat. Walmart is another example of a company that turns their meeting into a true event. 14,000 attended a few years ago, many of whom were employees, with pop stars playing live music. It's a concert. Pom-poms are handed out. It's a rah-rah event. It's a scene, man. This article refers to the Walmart meeting as a carnival. On the other hand, many companies dread their annual meeting, not because anything bad's going to necessarily happen. In fact, it's the opposite. A whole lot of preparation for not much payoff. For most companies, not many shareholders attend. Just the way it is. No matter how much they would market their annual meeting, maybe only 2, 3, a dozen people would show up. So what types of voluntary disclosures do companies make in their proxies to help shareholders understand how to attend these in-person shareholder meetings? Here are 10 things to consider. I'm going to rifle through this list. 1, who is eligible to attend? Shareholders as of a certain record date. What is that date? Both registered and beneficial owners can attend. Whether some companies allow a guest or, of course, a representative of a shareholder proponent as permitted under the shareholder proposal rules. If the proponent itself can't attend, they can send a representative in their place. The proponent is supposed to show up or a representative to present the proposal. That's required in the shareholder proposal rules. Some companies permit one immediate family member, someone who's designated as an authorized proxy. That's the disclosure in Pfizer's proxy statement. Typically, shareholders are required to contact the company to get admission tickets issued in the name of these other parties. Number 2, how to obtain an admission ticket. So some companies require admission tickets, some don't. You really have a lot of flexibility here as it's not regulated, not by the SEC, not by the stock exchanges, state laws. Other than the stock exchanges and the state laws require that you have an annual meeting, but it doesn't prescribe the process of how you allow the shareholders in. So some companies, as I mentioned, require admission tickets. Some also allow proof of ownership. In addition, that would be some sort of documentation from your broker or your bank, a statement. It's usually described in the proxy statement what's allowed to be presented as proof. Sometimes the company will ask that you register online and then they'll mail you an admission ticket. Sometimes they ask you to print your own, or sometimes the admission ticket's already attached to the proxy card or the notice of internet availability of proxy materials. Pfizer has disclosure about if you lose your admission ticket, you'll have to verify your ownership on site. I think that's a smart disclosure to make. And Coca-Cola discloses that admission is free. That's actually a good disclosure. It's interesting that other companies don't have that, but shareholders hopefully know that. I mean, Berkshire Hathaway, do they charge? I don't think they do. If you're a shareholder, you can attend for free, right? But they could charge. I think a lot of people would pay. Anyways, number 3, a phone number to call if you need help getting your admission ticket or any other questions about the annual meeting. Number 4, this is ubiquitous. You'll need to show ID, government issued ID, like a driver's license or a passport. Literally that language is almost in every single proxy I've seen. 5, you're going to have to go through security to get in. Some people don't like to go through the screening machines. Is that what they call them? The TSA things at the airport to see if you're carrying firearms or whatnot. And so that disclosure is often in the proxies as well. 6, disruptions won't be tolerated. So I'm surprised I don't see this disclosure more often. This is Coca-Cola's paragraph in their proxy that they're putting attendees on notice that there's no monkey business will be tolerated. Safety and productivity are our top priority. Failure to follow these admission procedures may result in you not being allowed in, or you are sent to the overflow room. Failure to meet the meeting procedures, the rules of conduct, may result in your injection or maybe even banned from all future meetings. It's a great disclosure. Everyone should have that. But it goes without saying because you'll be given a rules of conduct when you had first come to the meeting, and so you'll be on notice about what you're allowed to do there. 7, you can't bring in cell phones, large bags, any other electronic devices. This is ubiquitous disclosure. Some companies go further and specifically disclose the use of mobile devices, photography, or recording of the event is strictly prohibited. So what will happen is you'll show up at the annual meeting. They're going to collect your cell phone if they have the rules. If the company has a rule like this, they're going to collect your cell phone. They're going to put it in a bag. They're going to stick it in a cubby hole and give you a little ticket, just like a coat check. And when you come back, you're going to get your cell phone back. Number 8, directions, how to get there. There's usually disclosure in the proxy where a shareholder can go to find directions to the place. There's a website address and maybe even a help phone number. 9, seating is limited. Seating is limited. So not many companies have to worry about this, but bigger companies tend to have this disclosure that seating will be limited. Here, Disney also discloses that seating will be on a first come, first served basis. Some companies disclose there's a deadline for requesting admission tickets, and the deadline might even be moved up if the company has reached capacity before then. So request your admission ticket now. 10, disclosing at the meeting is accessible to the disabled. That sign interpretation is provided for those that are hearing impaired upon advance request. That's a very good disclosure to make, and hopefully in the practice to have. So these disclosures typically are in a section in the back of the proxy or even in an appendix appended to the end of the proxy. The title of the section will be FAQs about voting in the annual meeting or general information about the annual meeting. But you also need to note the location of the meeting in the notice that's at the front of the proxy. So see my other Vid-Guides about annual meetings. There's one called 10 Groovy Things to Disclose About Virtual Annual Meetings in Your Proxy, a link of which is beneath this video. But I have other Vid-Guides about shareholder meetings in general. Just go to zippypoint.com or search YouTube with the hashtags of #annual meeting, #zippypoint.